Everyone. It's good to have us here tonight. Uh, Live again, and I am so excited to be here. So let me just quickly share the link to the class. Yeah, I think we are good to go tonight. We have two persons here already. I welcome you to today's class. Please do well to introduce yourself as you join the class. Okay, is that Mr. Jolas? And who else is there? So in today's class we'll be going at length. We have a lot of ground to cover tonight. So we won't be wasting we'll spare tonight we'll actually spare no we'll leave no stone unturned. I want us to finish the course tonight. So tomorrow we are starting with a new course because we missed the class which was yesterday. I was it the day before yesterday, I think. So we'll be covering a lot of ground tonight. So now tonight we'll be talking about deception. I think I should be before trying to. Okay, I think I'm there already. So tonight we'll be talking about module 4. I'm taking module 4 tonight. I think this is the last module. I'll be taking the 5 units in module 4 tonight. So sit tight, get your writing materials ready as we move tonight. So we have deception. Okay, Mr. Jolas is here. Awesome, great to have you. So we have great to have you, Mr. Jolas. You're welcome. As punctual as usual. So we have deception. We're going to be talking about what deception is and how we're going to deal with that. So now under deception, we have what is called channels of non-verbal communication. It is frequently assumed that certain aspects of non-verbal behavior are not under voluntary control. Now, what is non-verbal communication? Non-verbal communication is that communications you communicate without literally talking, without literally saying a word, and communicate through the way you behave, through your body movements, your reaction. There has to be an action before and reaction. So these are actually communications that you don't have to necessarily talk, but by the way, by facial expression, by your body movement, by your body language, communication can take place. So now we are talking about deception tonight. So under deception, we have channels of non-verbal communication. This is actually page 122 under module 4. So now it is frequently assumed that certain aspects of non-verbal behavior are not under voluntary control. Now, voluntary control are behaviors we carry, the things we do voluntarily. We are deliberate about them. Like what I'm doing right now, I'm being deliberate about talking. Like what I'm doing right now, I'm deliberate about scratching my head. Those are actually deliberate and voluntary controls, behaviors that are based on voluntary controls. There are behaviors that are also based on involuntary control, like they are reflexes, like the way I'm blinking my eyes now. You understand? Usually, as human, I think in less than 5 minutes we do blink our eye. It's not actually you don't actually control that. I mean, you breathing, you actually control that. A lot of reflexes, like for example, if you don't like something else, you got irritated by something, there's this thing we do, there's this reflex that come out from us immediately. Probably you will ease or you just squeeze your face. There's some behavior that we call reflexes that you don't really control. You understand? Like that is that for that. So now we have thoughts. Take Now, however, a number of provisions needs to be kept in mind. A number of facts need to be kept in mind. Now, note that all channels of nonverbal communication are alike. Now, some seem to be more under voluntary control than others. Now, leakage cues. Let's not forget in our previous class we called something cues. Cues are physical things, like be actions that can be categorized as physical actions, things you do that others can observe physically. Now, leakage cues are defined. Now, under these channels of nonverbal communication, we have what we call leakage cues, and leakage cues are defined as those non-verbal acts which give away information the sender wishes to conceal. The uncontrollable process of giving information which to be concealed is called leakage cues. Now, while deception cues, on the other hand, is a non-verbal act which indicates that deception is occurring without revealing the concealed content, which is the master of deception. There are a lot of communication that actually are very deceptive, but the deceiver is actually not showing that this conversation is deceptive. Okay, we have Miss Justina. Great to have you. Oh, my phone has slide. Okay, I think that's okay. We have Miss Justina with us. It's great to have you. So we have that as that. So under deception, we have channels of nonverbal communication, and we said there are some nonverbal communications that we do that they are actually not controllable. We call them reflexes, and there are some that we actually can control. And we talked about leakage cues. Leakage cues are the ones you can't control, that they happen, you understand, uncontrollably, meaning that the informations you wish to conceal is being given out at the process of communicating. That is the leakage cues. But the deception cue, which has to do with acts indicating that deception is occurring without revealing the concealed content. So we have that as that. So we move straight to explanation for deceptive nonverbal cues. So we have a number of psychological processes underpin deceptive communication. Now, according to Zuckerman and Driver in 1985, they said that a number of psychological processes. Okay, we have somebody with us. Okay, Perky, oh, you're welcome. It's good to have you tonight. So we have, according to Zuckerman and Driver in 18. Okay, I think I in 18. I think I. Wait a minute, I want to get my. Okay, it's great to have you, Miss Justina. Thank you for the compliments. So so these are listed as controlled. Now, they underpin deceptive communication. There's what we call deceptive communications. I don't know if we get from the word deceptive. When we say deceptive, has to do with lies, concealing. That when you are being deceptive, it is basically a bedrock of the fact that you are covering something. From the word conceal, you are concealing something. Now they are listed. Now they are deceptive communications. Now Zuckerberg and Driver in 1985. Now they said this deceptive communication listed as control, arousal, felt emotion, and cognition processes. Now, lie tellers are insecure, more concerned with the impression they are making, more guilty or anxious, or more aroused than truth teller. Now, they are making comparison between somebody who is telling lie at the moment and somebody who is not telling lie. Now, for somebody who is telling lie, they are always very particular about their point standing. They don't want to give room for other person's points. It's just about what they are saying and what they want. So it is said that they feel insecure, and whenever you see somebody who feels insecure, definitely that person has something he or she is concealing. Liars feel, that's one thing I like about this course. It's actually a hands-on course, meaning that you get to discover a lot of reality about life. I was taking a class about a few hours ago, and it's actually um, an advanced course for public for management student. I think you're going to do it in your second semester 100 level. I think that's industrial slash organizational psychology, where it's now been now we are doing introduction to psychology, where we've spoken about psychology in policing, psychology here, psychology that, clinical psychodynamic psychology, this and that. But that one is a bit streamlined to a particular field, which is psychology at place of work, environment, how it affects you as in your place of work. So now what I'm just trying to say is that you can imagine what we are talking about now, which is deception. You get to find out a lot of things about people who are deceptive in nature, and probably somebody who is trying to conceal the truth from you. So all these things you get to know as we go into this class. So now we then say liars they feel insecure and they are always anxious compared to somebody who is telling the truth. Now, because most people tell lies rather than less frequently than they tell the truth, certainly they may be generally tendency to feel less confident, and this why basically people that tell lies, they feel less confidence. So they now assume, for me to feel this way, then I have to lie. Liars are definitely insecure people. Because why would you want to lie if you know you have a capacity, or you know that you have something and you have that capacity? You don't have to convince anybody to believe you. You get to lie when you don't have the thing and you claim you have it. That makes you insecure. So now, general tendency to feel less confident and insecure when telling lie or when trying to deceive. As a result, deceptive behavior may appear to be planned, rehearsed, or lacking in spontaneity. Now let's take that down. Deceptive behavior may appear to be 1. Planned, rehearsed, or lacking in spontaneity. Now, this is more apparent to non-verbal behavior over which some degree of voluntary control can be exerted. For example, taking a longer time to respond before speaking or speaking more slowly. Those are signs, those are signals. When you take time to respond, definitely you're trying to think, you use one lie. When you tell a lie, you have to also tell 5 more lies to cover that one you have said. And this process, it takes time for you to quickly process so you don't say things that will contradict what you have said. So now one of the signal is that it takes longer time to respond before speaking or speaking more slowly. Now, those who are socially anxious also exhibit a longer response time and slower speech. So we have that. It is important for you to note that deception seems to increase bodily arousal. Deception seems to increase body arousal. So at the means or at the place of trying to deceive somebody, the body arousal is being increased, and this body arousal then includes the increase of pupil dilation. Now, pupil dilation has to do with, you see this black thing in our eye. Pupil dilation has to do with the process whereby the black spot in our eye gets wider. That's what we call pupil dilation. When it gets wider, if you can look into the eyeball of somebody who is trying to tell a lie, somebody who is trying to deceive, the pupil dilation is being increased. Now, eye blinks, voice pitch, speech error, and hesitations. Those are important factors. Now, given the successful, okay, now we have that as that. Now, it must also be noted that telling lies is likely to require thoughts and may be more cognitive complex than telling the truth. This we have said about 3 times now. Now, a number of non-verbal behavior are associated with cognitive demand, including, we said it's pupil dilation, pausing, and decreased number of illustration and movement. So we have that. So we have factors influencing deception attempts. factors that influences deception attempt. The first thing we have is motivation. The research literature suggests that behavior of highly motivated deceivers differ from the behavior of less motivated ones. To get away with lying, their lies becomes more obvious to observers. Now, the Polar Earth at 1983, cited in Taylor's Earth 2000, found that judges. Oh, okay. I'm glad. I'm glad you are liking. I'm glad that you are liking the course. That your love for the course has increased. Very good. It's a sign that you are learning. So now, the Polar now said is postulating something here. He said judges who could see speakers' facial expression and body movements or hear the tone of a voice cue were more successful at detecting lies. Can you imagine that? The Polar Earth at 1983 cited in Taylor's Earth 2000 that judges, we know judges who judges are, they are under the judiciary, the interpretations of law, of the law. So they become judges who could see speakers' facial expression. If you can tell facial expression of somebody who is lying, their body movements, the tone of their voice, all these things are factors that tell that this person is conceiving something. Now, we have that as that. Similar effect was suggested by the Polar in 1985 in another study where undergraduates were urged to make a good impression while telling lies and truth to attractive or unattractive member of the same sex. Now, we have that as that. So, according to what the Polar says here, he said no judges who can tell, who can observe the facial expression, the body movements, and tone of people who are lying and chances of becoming more successful. So we have that as it's actually very necessary, even as a judge, or even as an individual, whether you're not a judge or not, you should be able to tell when someone is trying to conceive with all these factors that have been listed. So we have experienced deceivers. Now, the ability to use nonverbal behavior is gained by practice and experience. Definitely, over time, you become better at using nonverbal behavior. Definitely, probably in the last 5 years, somebody can get you angry, and the way you behave or the way you respond to such situation, maybe by now, 10 years after, you don't respond that way. Now you feel okay. If somebody steps on my toe, instead of me to flare, instead of me to just flare up and begin to rant, I rather just compose myself and hold on to myself. And if I can't take it, I'll tell the person to apologize. Now, what has happened over the years, you become better at non-verbal behaviors. There are non-verbal behaviors we carry out when we're much more when we're a teenager compared to now that you are adults. So what I'm just trying to say that over time you get better with non-verbal behavior and practices. Now we have that as that. So we have dipolar. I think this dipolar has a lot of influence. This is one name you should not let skip your mind when it comes to deception. I think he is one of the psychologists that has a lot of influence in this topic called deception. Now, the polar and the polar suggest 4 possible explanations to a result. Now, salespeople may be more practiced or experienced at telling similar lies. Okay, they may have confidence in their ability to deceive. They may have natural ability to deceive or may lack guilt about lying in relation to selling. This is very true. I once worked in Lagos as a marketer. Then when I finished secondary school, then that was in 2010. I finished my secondary school. Then in 2010, I got my first job with actually a brand called Vico. Actually, they brought in products from Malaysia and they needed to push it into the market. Then I stayed with my mom there at Ikorodu, and there's this Benson market where we have, it's like an ultra modern market in Lagos, and you can imagine these guys are competing with big brands like Milo, Bonfita, because it was actually a beverage. And there was this name, me and my team, because I was heading my team, and we definitely need to sell, and it is just pari passu. Lying with selling is pari passu. I'm just trying to give an example of, we are saying something about experienced deceivers, you know, and we said the first thing we said was that, over time you become better at non-verbal communication, meaning that according to what Polar now is now saying, that over time you gain confidence. Salespeople is using an illustration of salespeople now who becomes experienced at telling similar lies. Now, I don't want to say it's pari passu with marketing, because definitely you have big brands who are doing well already. Why you definitely have to convince people to get this new product that they need to try out. So me and my team then, now at first, having that team, me myself, I already have an idea of marketing, and if I'm with a product, the way I will convince and convert a potential customer will definitely be different from somebody who is actually new in the business. So then there was a model we used to use. We will call this thing oligosogros. People, it's just all about telling people what they want to hear. Come up, come along with stories that are interesting. There's something we call storytelling in marketing. You have to tell a story. If you can do this thing this way, okay, I did this thing this way, and this is the result I got. Do this thing this way, and you get a better result even than I have gotten. So over time, this strategy keep working, and I begin to understand. I begin to notice that somebody who joined in less than 1 week, who does maybe a sale of about 2 cartons. So over time, it begins to blend into the system. It begins to know more about the marketing stuff, and they begin to sell more of 5 cartons, like 4 cartons. Somebody who struggles with selling just 1 to 2 cartons before. So what am I just saying? Over time, when you get to a system, a particular point, over time you get to get better at it. So this is what they are saying here. So now, and the level of confidence increased. You know that this is actually not true, but because you keep using this method and it keeps working, then all of a sudden you become very confident at it. Exactly. It's actually a very good product, but definitely it has to be hyped. So it's the hyping process now that seems like deceiving. But definitely when we say something is 150%, at least you are getting 120%. So it has to be hyped. So what am I saying in essence? That they may have confidence in their ability to deceive over time. They may have a natural ability to deceive, or may lack guilt. When you do something over time, then the guilt is no longer there. So that is that as that. So we have that is under experienced deceivers. So we have self-confidence. Now, individuals who are skilled communicators of post emotions tend to be more successful deceivers. Now, underline the word post emotion. Post emotion. Skilled communicators. If you're an orator, as an orator, if you want to go into now deceiving, the word deceiving, now I'm not trying to paint it in a negative way. Let me interchange it for the word convert. But according to the material, I said deceives. Now, over time, if you are a good orator, if you're a communicator, then you have no issues in controlling emotions, because definitely emotion is all about everything. The way you communicate, the way you convert, the way you relate has to do with emotions. We are being able to strike emotion. If anybody can give you anything, before you can make somebody do anything for you, it has to be with emotion. If the person is convinced enough that what you are saying is true or not. So now, individuals who are skilled communicators of post-election tend to be more successful as deceivers. Now, whereas socially anxious subjects are less successful. Socially anxious, definitely, when you are anxious, then they can tell with your facial expression that you are lying. Now, lies in comparison to truth are particularly detectable when it is important for the deceptor to be successful, but deceivers has a low expectation of their likely success. No. So we have that as that under self-confidence. So we have message planning. Now, the opportunity to plan and rehearse deceptive messages makes them more difficult to detect. Definitely, you have to have a plan. Like the illustration I used about me going into the system with a product, there has been a plan, a strategic thinking that these are the competitors and this is a product we want to push newly into the market. How do you get to convince people who are already used, a family, like one of the potential customer I met? The person told me that I am a lover of Bonfita. I've been eating Bonfita, my family have been eating Bonfita for more than 4 years now. So why should I go for your product? Because they are still in the same niche. They are all beverages. Now, it took me a lot of convincing, it took me a lot of explanation, it took me a lot of highlighting potential benefits. It's creamy, it's good for people who has diabetic because the producer of this product put into consideration the consumption of this product by people who have specific illnesses. But when you put this product side by side with Bonfita or Milo and Bonfita don't have plans operation for people who have diabetes. So you might need to. It's this is not something that just comes out anyhow. It's a process of planning. It's a period of strategic fact gathering. You know that is just the message of the planning. That is that under that. So we have spontaneous deception contains more speech. Okay, now if now the word from the word spontaneous, if you have not done the planning well and you are trying to convince somebody, you definitely miss it in speech and you have a lot of errors and you will pause. Just like what we said about self-confidence, that if you are a good orator, for you to convert potential customers will be very easy because there won't be any gap when you are communicating. But when you begin to stop, I mean, in a communication that shouldn't be up to 5 minutes, you begin to pause in between. The more you pause, the more error you make, and the less confident you become. So that's that. That's that for that. So we have conclusion and summary. So we have in this unit, you've learned that non-verbal behavior. We've learned what non-verbal behaviors is, and you have therefore learned channels of non-verbal communication. Now we have, in addition, you have learned explanation of deceptive and non-verbal cues, factors influencing deception attempts. So we have that as that. So let's move straight ahead. We are actually going to, I think it's about 5 units, and we are just we are done with unit 1. I'm just trying to scroll up. So we are done with unit 1. So okay, if we have 5 units, so we have 4 more units to go. This night we are going to finish this course. So in our next class we'll be starting with a different course entirely. So we are going into socialization, which is unit 2 of module 4. Now, concept of socialization. At birth, the human being, okay, we lost connection just about, we lost connection there. I don't know, are we all together? Are we together? We lost connection there for about a minute. I think it's stable now. Are we all together? Mr. Jolas, Perky, Miss Justine, are we all there? Please let me know in the comment section. if we are still together. Mr. Jolas, Mr. Jolas, Mr. Okay, let me check. Okay, yes, awesome, awesome. Okay, that's good. That's great. Sorry about that. That was a glitch. That was a network glitch. It's good. It's good to know we are all together now. So as I was saying, okay, so as I was saying now, human baby is entirely dependent on others. Very true. Now, it is subject to certain biological pressures such as hunger, thirst, and the need to eliminate waste. Now, I mean that's basically physics, basically basically plain. So this is referred to as psychological needs in psychology. Psychological needs in psychology are referred to the need for food, shelter, and clothing. You understand? Need for food, shelter, clothing, and well-being. Now, the human baby has no means of avoiding these tensions and may even be unaware of precise cause of discomfort. Now, the mother waits upon the needs, communicates in an elementary way, and allays in the sense that eliminates fear. Now, early in this process, an incipient social relationship is established. Unavoidable social relationship is established between the baby and the mother. When the former cries, the later responds. When the baby cries, the mother responds. Now, human being, though born with the potential for social life, must nevertheless undergo a long and often arduous means difficult, rigorous process of socialization. Now, he must learn first to live with others and then to participate in a society in satisfying and reward. Now, this by no means require the lavish acquisition of conventional values. It does require, however, that some ethics of discipline, self-respect be transmitted to merely. Now, all these things in essence is that concept of it's the concept of what is the socialization. Socialization is just all about how humans respond to their environment, the norms, the culture, the belief, how all those things influences behavior and how we as humans respond to that. So the illustration of the child growing, it says that the child does not really know his left from his right, depends on survival on the mother. So the mother waits for the need, and when the child requests, the mother is always there to guide. Let me not be particular about just the mother. The parents are there to guide and ensure this child grow. As the child grows, all the things that is to be learned, how is to behave, how is to respond to the society, and the likes. All these things are being, all these things are being learned as a child growing up. Now we have that as that. Now let's take this down. For any society to survive, it is necessary to transmit to all new members the system of shared meanings, language, custom, values, ideas, material goods, and that are called culture. Now, for every society to survive, for them to sustain continuity, it is very important, it is germane that the culture, the way of life is passed down to new members, meaning new generations, so that if this is done, then their culture can live and see them can live even after they are gone because they've been able to communicate and pass it down to the newer generations. So we have that as that. So we have, according to some psychologists, socialization includes the following aspects: imitation, identification, and role learning. Now, this is a point you should take down. According to some psychologists, socialization includes the following aspects: imitation, identification, and role learning. Acquiring internal controls or conscious the self concept and social rules. And these are some psychological this according to some okay socialization. These are actually socialization, the process of you when you identify, when you learn, everything starts with the environment. Development of various behavior system of We have that as that dependency. All these are to do with socialization. Now, it is important for you to know that the term socialization is broad enough to cover all types of learning. In brief, this includes fundamental psychomotor skills, for example, walking. All these things has with the process of socialization, acquiring the use of language, you understand, social skills, example, art of conducting oneself among groups or stranger. All these things has to do with you communicating with the environment. Ideas regarding specific status, for example, rights and obligation of a husband. So we have that as that. So we have socializing agents. Who are socializing agents? Just like we said something when we were starting, we use an example of the latter and the former, the latter being the child and the former being the mother. You know, excuse me. So now we're talking about the agents. Who are the people, right? Or what are the factors or the people body, excuse me, or bodies responsible for socialization? So we have the first one, we have family. Everywhere the family plays a certain role in socializing the child. Typically, parenting includes a major responsibility for socialization. So, just like a saying that says, blame the effect of a bad community on bad parenting. Definitely every thug out there, every thief out there comes out from a family. Every kidnapper, every bandit, any bad person came out from a family. So it is said that family is actually a major agent of socializing. So definitely, let's all be the best parents we can be to our children, because they are going to be generation that will live after us. So socializing, they are one of the agents of socializing. I believe that is clear enough. So we have that as that. So we also have another agent is the school. Yes, that's another important agent in socializing. Children, we all learn a lot from school. We have a lot of things that we learned growing up as a child from school. Now we have the peer group. Although relationship with parents, okay, peer group is more of your friends, your colleague at work, or people you relate with. Yeah, one of the agents. So we also have mass media. That's to do with the radio, the TV, things we hear on social media. Now, Act 10, 1971 reported that number of transmitters in the whole of Africa jumped to 330, 370 in 1964 from Wi-Fi. Okay, now that's just I'm just highlighting that the name called Act 10 in 1971 gave a report that number of transmitters in Africa has jumped from 370 to 1964,000. So we have that as that. So we have sociometry. Now, successful schoolwork depend, among other things, on such characteristics as the people person adjust attitude and. Okay, Mr. Sunday, it's great to have you. Although you came a bit late, but nevertheless, it's great to have you join us tonight. So we have sociometry. Now, sociometry is now essentially from the measure of interrelationship. It is possible to draw a chart that will give a pictorial representation of some aspect of interpersonal. Sociometry has to do with interpersonal. Sociometry has to do with interpersonal communication, interpersonal how you communicate with people, how you relate with them, and the likes. So we have that as that. So we move to the next thing. Okay, now we have a diagram which has to do with some names are being displayed on the screen and how they communicate. So we have all these things that has to do with socialization, and this concludes for for this unit. We spoke about agents of socializing, and we spoke about the concept of socializing. So we move straight to the next unit, which is unit 3, and unit 3 we have 2 more units to go. We have juvenile delinquency. From the word juvenile, young, the delinquency has to do with minor crime. So let's see what it's all about. So the concept of delinquency. Now, By legal definition, the juvenile delinquency is neither a neglected youngster nor a young criminal, but one who occupies instead some twilight zone between the two. Now, according to the law, if a young lawbreaker is legally defined as a juvenile delinquent, it cannot be charged with crime or related as a criminal. I don't know if you get that. If uh, somebody who is regarded as a juvenile is found guilty of a crime, such individual cannot be treated as a criminal. Now, like the neglected and dependent child, it becomes a ward of the state, meaning it becomes property of the state. As in the case of mother, the young lawbreaker is charged with a crime. But if it is the case of mother, it's a different thing. The young lawbreaker will be charged with murder. Now, with a crime. Now, tried and punished in the regular court. I don't know if you get that. If it's any crime which is different from, which is not a murder crime, a murder case, such is not going to be charged or regarded as a criminal. But if it's a murder case, such will be tried, punished in the regular court. Now we have that as that. So let's just take that. So we have for most other offenses, however, the law requires that an offender under a certain age be adjudged delinquent, not criminal. Once the face of it, on the face of it, the content of juvenile delinquency may be said to be one of the pro-criminality. The youthful violator in adult law is regarded as a pre-criminal. Now let's take that out. A youthful violator in adult law is regarded as a pre-criminal, as someone not only in need of rehabilitation. They don't take you to court, they take you to rehab. I'm not sure we have that, we have stuff like that here, but I think I heard a lot in movies. And it's one place all these teenagers don't want to go. They're always running from rehabilitation, but likely to be, rehab. Definitely, you have been, it's actually a place to help you become a better person. So now, the breakdown of parental authority is by itself considered ominous. Now, the concept of juvenile delinquency automatically places the 17-year-old habitant committer of crime, I think is below 18, of crime in the same legal category responsible with the 10-year-old child who steals a tire on escapade. Now, we have the special importance which delinquency has acquired in relevant years. Public mind may be traceable to a growing conviction that delinquency behavior patterns are spreading among young people formerly relatively immune to them. You know, this case is actually a case of no matter how much crime a child perpetrates, the best you can do is to take that child to rehab and not to be charged in the regular court, except in cases of murder. Now, now, a situation in July 1985 when a news crew of Nigerian television NTA recorded the level of juvenile moral de- degeneration as was often exhibited in Lagos Bar Beach. It was intended for a documentary, but 1 minute clip during the evening network news was enough to cause a stir in the Lagos state government of Governor Madashiru, who swiftly set up a four-member tribunal to probe what later became commonly known as the Bar Beach Show of Shame. Now, and other issues relating to juvenile delinquency tribunal. Now, it is important for you to know that its finding revealed that many of the principal actors were mainly school dropouts. Okay, now this is a case that happened in Lagos where some juvenile had been abused, and the governor was swift into action, and some and it led to the led to a case of four-member tribunal to probe what we now later know as Bar Beach Show of Shame. So we have that as that. Now, places where delinquent personality operates, there are certain conditions in some places that makes it more likely that delinquent learning and development of delinquent personality will operate among such place conditions are the family. The family is one place that you need to definitely um, groom your child. We have them as family is and a millennial as being social group that has the most influence on. I said something about blame the bad society on the family. Definitely it's actually an agent of socialization, and if the family has failed, then it will actually give out failed products. And we have peer group as well, teach delinquency. Peer group is one thing that can also influence the behavior of a child and how they react. So we have that children tend to remember good or bad acts learned in movie more easily. So you have to be careful, know what your child watch. For as many of us who has or definitely becoming a parent one of these days, you have to be very careful of letting your child watch what is not. So we have remediation. Now note that preventive measures are more reassuring. Let's take that down, please. Preventive measures are more reassuring. Now, to prevent delinquency, we said delinquency is a minor crime committed by a juvenile. So we can say delinquency, it becomes necessary to deal with both personality factors and environmental influences, especially those coming from home, intimate associates, and community. Now, creating a wholesome environment and eliminating undesired influences. So stable now. So now remediation is more of like a remedial. When you put in preventive action to guide against juvenile um, juvenile delinquency. So we have that as that. Now we must embark on a genuine and sustainable reconstruction of Nigerian society. There are several ways that schools and teachers can facilitate the instruction of Nigerian youth and aid them in solution to their personal problems. Be alert to symptoms of delinquent prone, separate the fact from fiction and delinquency. Now, certain that school conditions are not causing or intensifying delinquent behavior. So all these are actually ways of ensuring remedial, preventive actions against juvenile delinquency. Now we have maintained good community relations to receive necessary support for. So we have that as that. So now we head on straight to unit 4, which we are going to be. One thing about this course is that it's actually a very interesting course, and many of the questions coming from the TME, this is one of the courses you will easily pass. I'm telling you, many of even in TME, many of the questions are coming directly from the material. I think whenever I'm attempting this course, many of the questions I answer them with my eyes, but with my eyes closed, because there are things we've seen in the class and they are coming out directly. So it's this in this course, at least everybody in this classroom should get nothing less than B, or at least a C. But standard for this particular course in the exam, your results should be a B, because this is one course that has to do with reality and you learn hands-on. So we have behavior modification, from the word modification, improving your behavior. Now we have let's just look at the introduction. Based on the fact that we've spoken about juvenile delinquency, now this particular unit now will serve as a forerunner, for you to have an effective remedial where you have to, when we reduce the level of juvenile delinquency in society, then we have to talk about behavior modification. Definitely, you cannot give what you don't have, even as a parent. So now it is possible for students of educational psychology with some training to shape the desired behavior. Let's not forget modification of behavior. So now we're talking about how to shape the desired behavior to maximize the deviant behavior of children in the classroom. Now, some parents will be with the awareness of psychological operant conditioning can shape the desired behavior of their children. Now, we are talking about juvenile children. Yeah. Now, helping them shape a desired behavior would help and go a long way by their parents and their teachers. We have all these things are actually very important because as they grow, you begin to shape their behavior. As a family, you begin to, the Bible says, bring up a child. Sorry for our Muslim brothers, I am not actually imposing anything on us, but I mean, I definitely draw a lot of illustration from the Word of God, and the Bible says that teach up a child teach a child in the way he should go. So when he grows, he will not depart from it. So we always have to teach up a child the way he should go. When we are old and when they are grown, they will always follow what you have given to them. So that is that as that. So we have methods of controlling behavior. Now, various methods can be employed for controlling behavior, and some of them are as follows. One, we have operant conditioning, we have shaping, we have scheduling, we have various types of reinforcements, modeling or imitations, extinctions, satiation, aversion therapy. Aversion is when you try to avoid some, when you can forecast into the future and avoid that this thing has to be tackled now and avoid waiting for it to get out of hand. Conditioning incompatible behavior and self control. So we have that as that now. So now if a child manifests some form of deviant behavior, some unruly behavior, then it is also very likely that the same mild manifestation, some forms of other socially approved behavior as well. Now, during the initial period of observation of a child's behavior, to determine the baseline of the deviant behavior, this element of socially approved behavior can also be spotted. There's a way the environment, we said something like that about genetics and environment, how it affects on behavior. There's a way the environment to bring up a child teaches your child what to do and what not to do. Even in the school, it's quite unfortunate that even as a child, as a parent, you're teaching your child different. You have been laboring on your child about a particular something at home, and unfortunately, this child gets to school, and all what you have been laboring teaching the child gets slaughtered in the school, or maybe even out there in the society. Okay, the influence of the society might even be few, might even be less because a child spends more time with the parents and in school. So it takes a lot of effort and hard work and prayer for you to bring up a child, in a proper way. So that's that for that. So we have we have something here about we must go. Okay, now another method that is frequently used to shape, if another frequently used method in shaping is that implies reinforcement of closer and closer approximation of desired behavior, reinforcement, consistent, follow up, follow through. Now, use the method of shaping to reinstate verbal behavior in an hospitalized patients and being mute several years. Okay, now the experimenters then found that while taking a packet of cigarette, a packet of gum accidentally dropped to the floor and made this patient move his eyes close to the floor. Okay, now two things became clear in this. Okay, now reinforcement in shaping. That's what we're talking about. Reinforcement in the sense that you have to keep doing something consistently. Like then I remember when I was staying with a family friend, when the child does something wrong, don't beat that child. Just tell the child, no, don't do that. Child does something again next time, no, don't do that. Do something again next time. No, over time, child will begin to realize that okay, this thing I keep saying, no, don't do that about, I'm not supposed to do that. And indirectly, Probably when maybe if the child has a younger sister or a younger brother, she will not be like, okay, no, don't do that. Where is she learn that from? She learned it from reinforced shaping her behavior by the parents. That's one thing about um, so the withdrawal of reinforcement is aversive in nature. Now let's take that down. Withdrawal of reinforcement is aversive in nature. So we have that as that. Okay, now another experimental technique that decreases the strength of a deviant behavior is called satiation. Under this concept, it is implied that the strength of a response will decrease under the influence. Now, to continue reinforcement, for example, okay, now what our satiation now is just about, you know, implies that the strength of a response will decrease under influence. Satiation means that when you are concerned about deviation, then the strength of the deviant definitely will decrease, and that is that for that. So it is to be noted that any attempt to modify deviant behavior presupposes the following: determining the baseline of the deviant behavior. Now, before you can modify a behavior, you have to first determine the foundation, the baseline of that behavior. Now, determine the terminal behavior and close approximately on it. When this behavior has been determined, then you have to close up. You have to be particular about it. You have to be close approximate on it. Now, decide on the nature of positive reinforcement that would be attractive to the child. And you now have to select the way at which the child does not see you as a threat, but rather an acceptable way of reinforcing, and the child can be attracted to receiving. There's a different thing that you teach and you receive. Just like when somebody was making an illustration today, that as a father, it's very unfortunate that your child or your children fears you. Meaning when you are around, all of them will compose. But the moment you go, that simply say they should not do what they will be doing. You have not been successful as a parent if it's like that. But whether you are there or not, your child should remain the same. But if your child is something else when you are here and something else when you are not there, they are not doing as a father. So it has to do with deciding on the nature of reinforcement you want to choose and how attractive it can be to a child. There has to be that bond between that father, between parents and their children. Whereby this bond does not actually override the fact that there has to be a shaping of behavior and shaping of character. Now, locating the nearest possible avoidance response available in behavior. Okay, we have reinforcing the child doing the adaptation while extinction is continuing. Okay, so we have all this as stats. So we have unit 5, which which happens to be the last unit for tonight on this course. Human aggression. So we have the word aggression, theories of aggression, additional determination of aggression, management of aggression. So we have the word aggression. Semantically speaking, the word aggression or the phrase aggression behavior may arouse different, wide, or varied connotative meanings to different individuals, although the denotative meaning of the word, according to the Pocket Oxford English Dictionary, simply means unprovoked attack, aggression. According to Oxford, said to be unprovoked attack. Now, students of the science of behavior, that denotative meaning of the word. Now, when you say something denotative meaning, it's kind of superficial. But when you say connotative, it's going deeper. I don't know if you get that. So we have denotative meaning of the word is not satisfactory, since under aggression behavior, psychologists list a great variety of behavior. Now, Freud and others argue that aggression is a primary instinct in the living species who have survived through ages during evolution. This is Freud and others arguing that Aggression is a primary instinct. You can't take aggression away from man. Now, there are some evidence that shown um, how pacifism, a supposed constructing type of behavior, has led complex. Okay, now we have that as that. Um, okay, we have now Martin Luther King, our Sadat, Mahatma Gandhi, and Murtala Mohammed Delegiwa, and all these people, Bolaige, all died by assassins' bullets, and all were known for their love, peace, and goodwill. Now, it is on record that King trained his followers, most of them workers, students, in the tactics of non-violence. I know of this very well. I read a lot of books by King. Is anti-violence. Is an anti-violence man. Now, he was an anti-violence man. Now, he made them sign non-violence pledges and made them watch plays where the white man's police brutalized the African Americans without the latter raising a finger. We know also how Sadat tried to settle Middle East crisis peacefully through diplomatic uh, maneuvers. So we have psychologically speaking, aggression has been defined as a sequence of behavior, the goal response to which is the inquiry of the person towards whom is directed. Now, psychologically speaking, aggression is defined as a sequence of behavior, the goal response to which the inquiry of the person towards whom is directed. Two, most subsequent theorizing and research into aggression behavior have adopted injurious intent as essential aspect of aggression. But we know that aggression serves more than inflictions or injury. Aggression is a normal component of sexuality, as indeed it is of any activity. Definitely, aggression is beyond just inflicting injury, and can be aggressive sexually, can be aggressive academically. It cuts across all aspects of life. Now we have in point of tact. In point of tact, there are different types of aggression, some which are we have instrumental aggression. This is aimed at securing extraneous external reward other than the victim's suffering. Instrumental aggression now speaks about external conflicting of victim. Now it's more of external. Now let's say for example the Nigerian Civil War was 1967 to 1970. Is a classic example of instrumental aggression. It was used as an instrument for maintaining national unity and national cohesion by the federal military government of Nigeria of General Yakub Gowon. Any fact of war is instrumental aggression. So I believe that is understood. It's more of an aggression channeled towards the external. Now we have hostile aggression. Hostile aggression. Now, the sole aim of this is to inflict injury on others. This is direct on whoever it is you want to inflict injury on. That is hostile aggression. Now, displayed aggression, transfer of aggression, direct against some object that the one actually causing the feeling. Displays is system and transfer of aggression. I believe we all know what transfer of aggression is. We have theories of aggression. Some psychologists still hold that aggression stems from biological or genetical causes and should be viewed as a natural aspect of human behavior. Okay, as John 1972, Johnson 1972 said, biological or genetic. The aggression is either biological or genetic, and it should be viewed as part of human behavior. And according to Johnson 1972, so we have that as that. So we have in the occurrence of aggression, three factors which have often been implicated are frustration, physical or verbal attack, and exposure to action of highly aggressive models. Now, three factors, three factors which have often been okay. Now, occurrence of aggression. We have occurrence of aggressions are frustration. Now, three factors which have been often implicated are frustration, physical attack, or verbal attack when you say defamatory things about somebody, and exposure to the actions of. I think I need to increase my backline a bit. I think that is better. Yeah. So we said um, three factors. We said frustration, physical attack, and exposure to highly aggressive models. Now, frustration aggression theory. This most striking point that the most striking point that you must take note of with respect to the frustration aggression theory is that it seems the source of violence is a person's relation. Okay, from the word frustration, frustration is classically put. We can say, definitely when we talk about frustration, it's actually more of an influence on society, on the individual, then the aggression is being escalated. So we have it has to do with circumstance. That's one thing about frustration and aggression. It has to be event of society and circumstance of the individual, and this can lead to that, which is frustration aggression theory. Is more of circumstance that is surrounding the emotional behavior of the individual that led to the aggression. So we have that as that. So we also have additional determinant of aggression. Many individuals can readily be induced to inflict pain and discomfort on others by command or authority figure. Now, one of the additional determination of aggression is command, just like what we have in the case of in the case that happened in Lekki Toll Gates, where many youths were doing the NSAS protest, when many youths were actually shot. Till today, the case has still been buried, you understand, under the carpet. The command of an authority figure and an additional determination of aggression. We have that as that. Now we have management of aggression. Now we have it has often been suggested that neither punishing aggressors for their violent acts or merely threatening to do so may be a highly effective means of preventing those persons from engaging in such activities. Two, either punishing them or threatening, punish them. Who are the them? The violators. Violators in the sense that people who are who have intentions of inflicting aggression on others. So either you threaten to punish them or you punish them, that this works highly effectively. So we have as a practical system of controlling and making use of competitive aggression, now which is so evident in political controversy. Okay, we have not that alone, we have individuals on the receiving end of punishment may interpret such disciplinary action as an attack against them. Definitely, what do you think? If you had done something wrong, definitely punishment will be sanctioned. Now we have, it is to be remembered that aggression often breed aggression. Definitely, aggression often breed aggression, and this may lead to an increase rather than a reduction in overall level of violence. Definitely, direct punishment may often fail to reduce the likelihood of overheated aggression. Indeed, in some cases, it may actually tend to enhance such behavior. That is direct aggression. Now we have conclusion. We have learned in this unit the important part of human condition. Now, the word aggression, concept of aggression, theories of aggression. So we have learned in this unit concerns human aggression and also learned the theories and how this thing works. So thank you very much, guys. This brings us to the end of today's class and brings us to the end of this course. A lot of us are yet to submit our assignments on MTH 105, which are that was the multiplication of matrices. If you are yet to do that, please do have to submit it. And I hope our TMAs are going well. TMA 2 will be released after the closure of TMA 1 on the 10th. I think registration has been extended for as many who are yet to register. It has been extended, so we call it a wrap for tonight. Thank you very much, guys. I look forward to seeing us in subsequent class. Bye.